Looking to keep your blood sugar steady and your taste buds happy? You don't have to settle for bland or boring. Some of the most flavorful, satisfying vegetables are actually powerful allies for blood sugar control. Whether you love crisp and crunchy, roasted and savory, or spicy and bold, this list of the top 9 delicious vegetables for diabetics in the USA has something you'll crave. Packed with fiber, antioxidants, and essential nutrients, these picks not only help manage glucose but also support gut health, reduce inflammation, and keep your meals exciting. Ready to dig into diabetes-friendly veggies that taste as good as they are good for you? Scope 1. Buttercup squash. Buttercup squash. Ever wondered if it's actually good for diabetics or if it secretly spikes your blood sugar? Here's the deal. Per 100 grams, buttercup squash contains about 20 grams of carbohydrates, 3 grams of dietary fiber, roughly 12% of your daily fiber needs, and has a low to moderate glycemic index of around 50 with a glycemic load of approximately 10, making it fairly blood sugar friendly in controlled portions. Its fiber slows glucose absorption and improves insulin response, especially when paired with a protein like grilled chicken or a healthy fat like olive oil. It contains magnesium, 12% DV, potassium, 10%, vitamin C, 15%, and small amounts of chromium, all of which help regulate blood sugar and support metabolic health. Rich in carotenoids like beta-carotene, polyphenol, and trace flavonoids, it's anti-inflammatory and supports insulin sensitivity when not overcooked. Steaming or roasting is best. Raw is too starchy and boiling can leach nutrients. It's gut-friendly due to its soluble fiber, though excessive intake without water can cause bloating, so hydration matters. Yes, it has mild anti-nutrients like oxalates, but cooking reduces them significantly. Compared to sweet potatoes, it has a lower glycemic load and is cheaper too, around $1.20 to $2 per pound depending on the season, with peak availability in fall and winter. Nutrients do decline in long storage, so fresh is better for diabetics. One portion, 1/2 to 1 cup cooked, is ideal. More than that might tip the glycemic load upward. Best time to eat? Pair it with lunch or dinner, not solo and not before a carb-heavy meal. Processed versions like squash chips? A hard no, they're usually fried and carb-dense. Organic isn't a must unless you're sensitive. It's not on the dirty dozen. To track your personal response, use a glucometer or CGM at 1 and 2 hour marks after eating. Buttercup squash can definitely be part of a daily diabetic meal plan, but variety matters, so rotate with other low GI veggies to keep things balanced. Crossons. Think a weird little root that looks like a mini spiral can't help with diabetes? Meat croissants, also called Chinese artichokes. And yes, they're surprisingly diabetic friendly. With about 17 grams of carbs per 100 grams and roughly 2 grams of fiber, 8% of your daily value, their glycemic index is estimated to be low, around 30 to 40, and the glycemic load stays under 7 per serving, making them unlikely to spike blood sugar. What really makes croissants shine is their high inulin content, a prebiotic fiber that supports gut health, slows glucose absorption, and improves insulin sensitivity over time. They're gut-friendly, especially when steamed or lightly sautéed, though eating them raw can cause mild bloating for sensitive folks due to their fermentable fiber. Antioxidant-wise, they bring polyphenol and small amounts of flavonoids, with trace levels of potassium, 6% DV, vitamin C 5%, and magnesium 4%. No major red flags for anti-nutrients, though like most roots, light cooking helps neutralize any residual phytates. They're anti-inflammatory and support microbiome diversity, huge pluses for anyone managing diabetes. Best eaten fresh in fall and winter, they cost around $8 to $12 per pound due to their niche status and don't store well, so use them quickly. For diabetics, keep portions around half a cup, about 75 grams, and pair with proteins like grilled fish or eggs to blunt glucose spikes. Morning or midday meals work best, especially before other starchy carbs. Skip processed versions. Croissants chips are just a crunchy blood sugar trap. Compared to potatoes, they're lower in carbs and easier on blood sugar, but pricier and more seasonal. Not on the dirty dozen, so conventional is usually fine. Want to track how they affect you? Test blood sugar at 1 and 2 hour marks post-meal using a glucometer or CGM. Daily consumption is fine in moderation, but rotate with other low GI routes like sunchokes or turnips. While juicing isn't ideal due to fiber loss, adding croissants to a smoothie with protein and fat could work, if you keep the skin on and the portion small. Overall, croissants are a quirky, underrated win for diabetics. Nutrient-light but gut-strong and glucose-steady when eaten right. 3. Ramps or wild leeks. Think wild leeks, aka ramps, are just a foodie trend? They're actually a secret weapon for diabetics when eaten right. With only about 10 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams and roughly 2 grams of fiber, 8% of the daily value, ramps have a very low glycemic index, likely under 30, and a glycemic load of less than 3, making them extremely blood sugar friendly. They support insulin sensitivity thanks to natural sulfur compounds like allicin and camphorol, which have proven anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. These compounds protect blood vessels and stabilize glucose levels. They're gut-friendly, help feed beneficial gut bacteria, and their fiber slows digestion, great for avoiding post-meal glucose spikes. Nutritionally, they offer around 20% of the daily recommended intake of vitamin C, 13% for vitamin A, and trace amounts of manganese and chromium, making them small but mighty. Cooking ramps lightly, like sautéing or steaming, is best to retain both flavor and nutrition. Raw is fine in small doses, but overcooking can dull their benefits. They don't contain major anti-nutrients, and their natural sulfur boosts detox and reduces inflammation. Diabetic-friendly ideas? Add them to scrambled eggs with olive oil and feta, or chop into a lentil salad with grilled salmon to create a fiber-protein-fat trifecta. Price-wise, they're seasonal and pricey, often $12 to $20 per pound, and available only for a few weeks in spring. Eat them fresh. They don't store well and lose nutrients fast, so buy only what you'll use. A portion of 1/4 to half a cup cooked is perfect. More could cause digestive upset or garlic breath overload. They're ideal at lunch or dinner, especially when combined with proteins or healthy fats to tame glucose response. Compared to onions or garlic, ramps are gentler on blood sugar and more nutrient-dense, but far less accessible. No need to go organic unless you're picky, they're wild foraged and not sprayed. Skip pickled or fried versions. They'll sabotage the health benefits. To test your response, check blood glucose at 1 and 2 hours after eating. Daily use is fine during their short season, but rotate with other alliums like scallions or leeks to keep your gut and glucose in balance. Hydration isn't a big concern, and blending into a green smoothie with Greek yogurt or avocado could work. Just avoid juicing them straight. All in all, ramps are a seasonal superfood for diabetics, as long as you don't go overboard. For upland cress. Think leafy greens are boring for diabetics? Upland cress is anything but. This peppery powerhouse is seriously underrated and insanely blood sugar friendly. With just 1.3 grams of carbs and about 0.5 grams of fiber per 100 grams, its glycemic index is essentially zero and glycemic load is negligible, making it a dream food for stabilizing blood glucose and supporting insulin sensitivity. Loaded with glucosinolates, sulforaphane, flavonoids, and vitamin C, over 45% of the daily value, this little green helps lower inflammation, detoxify cells, and enhance antioxidant defenses. Major wins for anyone managing diabetes. It also delivers vitamin A 40% DV, calcium 6%, potassium 7%, and trace magnesium and manganese, all crucial for blood sugar regulation. It's super gut-friendly, easy to digest raw, and even more bioavailable when lightly steamed or tossed into soups just before serving. There are no major anti-nutrients to worry about, and the fiber content, although small, still plays a role in slowing glucose absorption when paired with other foods. Recipe ideas. Try it blended into a cottage cheese spread on whole grain toast, or wilted into an egg scramble with avocado for a perfect fat-fiber protein combo. Compared to spinach or arugula, upland cress is sharper in flavor, lower in oxalates and more anti-inflammatory. It's not on the dirty dozen list, so conventional is usually safe, but organic may taste cleaner. Avoid processed or overcooked versions. Keep it whole and vibrant. Want to see how it impacts you? Use a CGM or glucometer at 1 and 2 hours post-meal, especially when combining with carbs. Daily use is absolutely safe and even beneficial. Just rotate with other greens like kale or mustard for variety. No juicing though. It's too delicate and low in fiber to work that way. If you're diabetic, upland cress is a spicy little ally your pancreas will thank you for. 5. Delicata squash. Think all squash is off-limits for diabetics? Not so fast. Delicata squash is surprisingly gentle on blood sugar when portioned right. With about 10 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams and 1.5 grams of fiber, 6% of the daily value, its glycemic index is estimated around 45, with a glycemic load of about 4 per serving, moderate but manageable if eaten with proteins or healthy fats. Delicata is naturally rich in potassium, 8% DV, vitamin C 15%, and beta-carotene, which supports eye health and immune function. It contains flavonoids and polyphenol that offer anti-inflammatory benefits and may even support insulin sensitivity when combined with a whole food diet. It's also gut-friendly and easy to digest, especially when roasted or steamed. And it's one of the few winter squashes with edible skin, bonus fiber and nutrients. The fiber slows the glucose release, helping avoid sharp spikes, especially when paired with lean proteins like grilled chicken or with quinoa and pumpkin seeds. Anti-nutrients like oxalates are minimal and not a concern for most. Inflammation risk is also low, unless you go heavy on sweet glazes or overdo the portion. A typical serving size for diabetics is half a small squash or about 75 grams cooked. Too much can edge into carb-heavy territory. Available mostly in fall through winter, and priced around $1.50 to $2.50 per pound, it stores well for weeks in a cool pantry without much nutrient loss. It's best eaten for lunch or dinner, especially before or alongside other carbs. Combining with olive oil or tahini boosts satiety and flattens glucose curves. Compared to butternut squash, delicata is lower in sugar and cooks faster, making it a smart swap. Organic versus conventional? Not critical, it's not on the dirty dozen list. Skip processed versions like squash chips or fries, they're carb bombs. Want to know how it affects you personally? Check your CGM or glucometer at 1 and 2 hours after eating. It's fine to eat a few times a week, but rotating with non-starchy veggies helps prevent carb creep. Juicing it? Not recommended. It's too starchy and will spike blood sugar fast. Overall, delicata squash is a flavorful, colorful, and diabetes-smart veggie, if you treat it more like a side dish than the main event. 6. Collard greens. Ever wonder if collard greens are more than just Southern comfort food? For diabetics, they're actually a secret weapon. With just 3.6 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams and about 4 grams of fiber, an impressive 14% of your daily intake. They come with a glycemic index near 15 and a glycemic load under 1, making them one of the lowest impact greens on blood sugar. They don't just avoid spikes, they actually help stabilize blood glucose, thanks to their high fiber and magnesium, 20% DV, which supports insulin sensitivity. Rich in vitamin K over 800% DV, vitamin A 300%, and vitamin C 50%, collard greens are anti-inflammatory powerhouses, packed with flavonoids like kaempferol and phenolic acids. They're incredibly gut-friendly, easy to digest when lightly steamed or sautéed, and their sulfur-like compounds may reduce chronic inflammation tied to insulin resistance. It's available mostly in early spring and fall, priced around $3 to $5 per bunch, and best eaten fresh since it wilts fast and loses nutritional punch after a few days. For diabetics, a cup or two raw, 30 to 60 grams, is ideal. No real upper limit, unless you go overboard and trigger digestive upset from excess sulfur. It's great before a carb-heavy meal to slow absorption, or as part of a high-protein breakfast. Worried about anti-nutrients? Yes, collard greens contain a small amount of oxalates and goitrogens, but steaming helps neutralize these without sacrificing nutrients. Fresh collard greens are available year-round, especially cheap in the South, averaging about $1.20 per pound. Store them no more than a week for max nutrients and always prep just before use. Ideal portion, about 1 to 1.5 cups cooked. More is fine, but balance it with proteins like turkey, salmon, or tofu to blunt any glucose response. They're best eaten at lunch or dinner, especially before or with carbs, and can even be blended into green smoothies. Just don't juice them, they're fiber magic, not sugar bombs. Forget chips or fried versions. Stick to sautéed with garlic and olive oil, or use as a low-carb wrap alternative. Organic is nice but not necessary, since collards aren't high on the dirty dozen list. Curious how they affect you personally? A glucometer or CGM check at 1 and 2 hour marks will tell you exactly how your body responds. They're safe for daily use, though rotating with kale or mustard greens adds variety. Low-carb, high-nutrient, inflammation-fighting, and cheap, collards aren't just good for diabetics. They're essential. 7. Sunchokes. Think sunchokes, also known as Jerusalem artichokes, are off-limits for diabetics because they're tubers? Think again. With about 17 grams of carbs per 100 grams, you might expect a glucose spike. But here's the twist. Nearly all those carbs come from inulin, a prebiotic fiber that humans don't digest. That means it has minimal impact on blood sugar and actually feeds your good gut bacteria instead. The glycemic index is around 20, and the glycemic load is surprisingly low, under 2 per 100 g serving. In fact, sunchokes can improve insulin sensitivity over time thanks to their fiber content. They offer roughly 7 grams of fiber per 100 grams. That's 25% of your daily fiber needs. They're also rich in potassium, over 400 milligrams or 11% DV, iron and magnesium, while delivering a nice dose of antioxidants like polyphenol and vitamin C for anti-inflammatory support. Raw sunchokes can be hard to digest and cause gas, so steaming or roasting is ideal for taming their gut bubbling side while preserving prebiotic benefits. They're free from oxalates and phytates, and actually help reduce inflammation by modulating the microbiome. Fresh ones cost around $3 to $5 per pound and are seasonal. Look for them in fall and early spring. They store well for a couple of weeks in a cool place but lose crispness over time. Stick to about half a cup cooked if you're new to them, then gradually increase. Always pair with healthy fats like olive oil or proteins like chicken or tempeh to flatten glucose curves. Great tossed into roasted veggie bowls, pureed into soup with lentils, or even fermented as gut-friendly pickles. Definitely avoid chips or processed sunchoke snacks. They often add carbs that cancel out the benefits. They're not on the dirty dozen list, so conventional is fine, but organic is great if you find it. Use a CGM or glucometer to track your response, especially 1 and 2 hours post-meal. And rotate them in a few times per week rather than daily to avoid digestive overload. So, are sunchokes diabetic friendly? Absolutely. But treat them with respect and they'll reward you with blood sugar balance and better gut health. 8. Oppo squash. Is Oppo squash the hidden gem every diabetic needs in their kitchen? With just 2 to 3 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams and a glycemic index so low it barely moves the needle, around 15 to 20, this hydrating veggie clocks in with a glycemic load under 1, making it incredibly blood sugar friendly. Plus, it's got 1 gram of fiber per 100 grams, which helps slow glucose absorption and supports insulin sensitivity, especially when paired with lean proteins or healthy fats like avocado or tahini. Oppo squash, also called bottle gourd, is packed with 92% water, making it super easy on digestion and helpful for staying hydrated, especially important for diabetics prone to dehydration. Nutritionally, it's not a multivitamin powerhouse, but it delivers decent amounts of potassium, 170 milligrams, approximate 5% DV, vitamin C and trace minerals like magnesium and zinc, all while being ultra-low in calories. It contains antioxidants like flavonoids and cucurbitacins, which show anti-inflammatory and blood sugar-lowering effects. No significant anti-nutrients like oxalates or lectins to worry about in cooking. Steaming boosts digestibility without sacrificing its gentle impact on insulin response. Best eaten cooked, lightly sautéed with garlic and tofu, tossed into lentil stew, or spiralized into veggie noodles for a low-carb pasta swap. Available year-round in Asian markets for around $1 to $2 per pound, it stores well for up to a week in the fridge but is best fresh. Aim for 1 to 1.5 cups cooked per meal to keep things balanced. More than that could crowd out other fiber-rich veggies. It's not on the dirty dozen list, so conventional is safe. Avoid chips or fried versions as they often add insulin-spiking carbs and fats. Want to track your personal response? Use a CGM or glucometer at 1 and 2 hours post-meal to confirm it keeps you in range. Daily consumption is fine, especially when rotated with higher nutrient greens, and its fiber plus water combo means yes. Stay hydrated, especially if you're juicing it. Just don't overdo it without the fiber. In short, Oppo squash is a gentle, gut-friendly, blood sugar stabilizing winner with almost no red flags. So why not give it a starring role on your plate? 9. New Mexico green chili. Think spicy foods are off the table for diabetics? Not when it comes to New Mexico green chili. This fiery favorite is actually a blood sugar ally. With just 5 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams and 2 grams of fiber, about 8% of your daily value, it has an ultra-low glycemic index of around 10 and a glycemic load well under 1, making it one of the safest flavorful additions to a diabetic plate. Rich in capsaicin, the active compound that gives it heat, green chili supports insulin sensitivity, boosts metabolism, and helps reduce post-meal glucose spikes. It's also packed with vitamin C, up to 200% DV per 100 grams when raw, potassium, 7% DV, and antioxidants like carotenoids, flavonoids, and polyphenol that reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, both key drivers of insulin resistance. It's gut-friendly for most people but may cause mild GI irritation if you're sensitive to spice or eat large amounts raw. Light roasting or steaming retains its antioxidant profile while softening its heat and boosting digestibility. It contains minimal anti-nutrients and cooking eliminates most. Want a blood sugar-friendly meal? Try it chopped into scrambled eggs with avocado, blended into a lean turkey chili, or tossed over grilled chicken and black beans. It's seasonal in late summer through early fall, but often available frozen year-round. Fresh can run about $2 to $3 per pound in peak season. Nutrients degrade slightly with long storage, so use promptly or freeze. Many popular vegetables like carrots, peas, and potatoes, while nutritious, can spike blood sugar if not paired properly. This list goes beyond that. We've given you underrated vegetables like croissants and ramps, science-backed data on glycemic load and fiber, preparation tips that protect nutrients, portion guides that actually work, flavor combinations that make meals enjoyable, and tracking strategies that personalize it all to your own body. Speech balloon final thought. You have the power to eat in a way that heals, nourishes, and strengthens you. This isn't about restriction. It's about rediscovery. Flavor, energy, satisfaction, and health, all on one plate. Don't let old myths guide your choices. Don't settle for boring meals or fear food. Embrace what works. Test what's right for your body. And remember, when it comes to diabetes, the right vegetables aren't just food. They're medicine.